Hey class, it's Mr. Tobel, and I want to go over how do we find a missing angle when we have the sides. Now, on the worksheets, they usually tell you specifically, use sine or use cosine or use tangent. But sometimes you're going to have your choice, and maybe that's a little harder than just being told what you need to do. So in this question, I'm asking you here, what is angle A and angle C? I'm just going to ask you that. Now, we have a couple of options. Let's first solve angle A, considering if B is our right angle. So I'll put a little arc and put an X on it. So we know we're looking for variable X. Now, over here we have SOHCAHTOA. So is sine, and the ratio is opposite over hypotenuse. C is for cosine, adjacent over hypotenuse. And T is for TOA, opposite over adjacent. Ignore that little mark, that was a mistake. So, with angle A, I could choose, because I have all three sides, any one of these. To make it simple, I'll just choose tangent. So I'm going to write tangent of X, because I don't know what the angle is. So I put X, is opposite side. So the opposite side of A, in this case, is 4. And remember, based on the question, is which one we're talking about, opposite or adjacent. So if I'm talking about angle A in this case, the opposite of angle A is 4. And the adjacent one, even though these both are adjacent, this one is considered a hypotenuse. Because it's the hypotenuse is much more important, which leaves this guy, who's a little less important, just be called adjacent. So he's 4/3. Okay. Now, here's the issue. Before 7.6, I believe, we didn't have a way to get the X by itself when the X was inside the tan. But we do have a special button on the calculator that allows us. We're going to use tan of -1. What this does is cancel out the tan on top. While here, we have to do the same thing to both sides of the equal sign. So this is tan of -1. This doesn't get canceled out. So what happens is X is all by itself, which is what we always want. Tan of -1, 4/3. Okay, so tan -1, how do we do that? Well, we have a calculator for that. All right, here's my pretty cheap calculator, T83. Now, how do I use the calculator? First, turn it on like always. Let's clear that. Clear all that. All right, so there's a button where tan -1 is, and it's right above our normal tan. Now, you notice it's in blue, so we got to press second first, and then tan. If you notice, we got tan of -1. Now, over here, we had our fraction, 4/3. So I'm just going to type it in, 4 divided by 3. And I like to close the parenthesis every time. You press enter. And you get this number, 53.1 degrees. So what does that mean? That means angle A, or the value of X, is 53.1 degrees. Okay, we just got that angle. How can we get angle C? Well, we know this is 90, and we know this is 53.1, and we all know what it adds up to, which is 180. So what I'm going to do is 180 minus 53.1 minus 90, and angle C is just 36.9. So if I were to call this one Y, this is 36.9. That's based off our calculator. What's very important about this all is that because I found angle A, it made it very easy to find angle C. Now, what I could have done is found angle C first, using either one of these, SOHCAHTOA or sine, cosine, or tangent. I could use any of these numbers. So for example, I could have done sine of y, we could call that one y, opposite, which in this case would have been 3, over the hypotenuse, which is 5. I could have done that and used negative sign, so sine to the negative 1, to figure that out. I could have done cosine of y equals, what is my adjacent, in this case 4, over what's my hypotenuse, 5. This will get you the same answer as sine 3 over 5. I could have done tangent of y equals opposite, which is 3, over adjacent, which we figured out before was 4. All these answers, as long as you use sine of -1 or cosine of -1, are going to be exactly the same. It might be a little off, like it could be 37.0 or 36.8 if you put it in the calculator, because this is a rounding and this is a rounding. But if it's somewhere close like this, and you show me your work, either something like this, that you just simply type this into your calculator, I'm satisfied with that work. And if you get the answer pretty close, I'm satisfied with that answer, which means you'll get full credit on the test. Now, the hardest type of question is just me asking which one to find them all. Like, let's say I only give you 2 sides and 1 angle. You have to find the rest. That's pretty basic because all I had to do is figure out the 1 angle and I could figure out the second angle. So sometimes I'm very explicit on what I want you to do. Sometimes I'm going to tell you, for angle C, use sine. So use sine of C. Sometimes I'm going to be very vague and say, figure out what the missing angle is. And you have to figure out what it is using the right one. So depends on the situation. It's depending on the scenario. So I hope this helps you out, and try to find me tomorrow anytime so I could try to help you guys out. Okay? Thank you for listening.